huffshow.com/subscribe. So let us begin today by talking, as I referenced here off the top, about Joe Biden and about his desire to implement gun control. That's what we're talking about here today. He says we're not. It's amazing, though. He says we're not talking about gun control, but everything he wants to do controls guns. So we're going to talk about that this morning. Going to play some sound bites from him. I also have a conversation with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of The College Fix. He joins us once a month to update us on the lunacy that we see on college campuses and in the media as well. Share a bit of that conversation here as the program unfolds today. But let's start here with Biden yesterday rolling out six, that's the number 6, one number short of George Costanza's preferred name for his first son, 7. 6 executive orders yesterday were rolled out by President Joe Biden on gun control. Even I'm looking at headlines in the media. The media doesn't even know how else to define this. IJR.com, Biden rolls out 6 executive actions on gun control. Here's what they are. It's not funny what he's doing. Biden's up there literally telling us this isn't about gun control. This isn't about limiting the Second Amendment. He also says something that's bizarre to me, which I think will be in one of these sound bites I play. You can't, none of these amendments give you, what's the phrase he uses? Basically limitless freedom, so to speak. And the left always, this is the only example I've ever heard, by the way, of when it comes to free speech. Because the point is, well, free speech is limited because you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's not free speech. So therefore, I guess you can't have the right to keep and bear arms, is what Biden's saying. Because we're not coming after your Second Amendment rights. We're just trying to protect citizens. This isn't gun control, even though the media doesn't know how else to even describe these things besides using the phrase gun control. Anyway, Biden, let's sit there for a moment, just for a moment, on this you can't yell fire in a crowded theater argument. What's first of all another example? I'd like to hear another example of where speech is limited. It's not really under the First Amendment. It is, unfortunately, under the PC police, under the rules that have been instituted by social media. But that doesn't make it constitutional. That doesn't make it defensible. The reason you can't yell fire in a crowded theater is because it serves no purpose other than to cause disorder, chaos, and injury to people. Right? I mean, that's the idea. You can't yell something that's false. Obviously, if there is a fire, you can say that there's a fire, but you can't walk into a theater, speak things that are untrue, that are designed to cause panic, chaos, tumult, kind of like electing a Democrat to a public office. Kidding, not kidding. But you yell fire in a crowded theater, and there's nothing productive from that, right? There's not an exchange of an idea. There's not someone contributing to discourse. This isn't an expression of something that is important or something that the individual needs to be able to express and make argument for. There's no idea. There's no concept. It's just designed to cause chaos and terror and disorder and probably injury, maybe even worse, right? That's the idea. That's the reason. It's not that you aren't allowed to express. And now we're getting to the meat of the issue here. It's not that you are not allowed to express certain ideas or beliefs that you have. Now we're getting to the meat, President Biden. You want to use the example, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about why. Let's then look at what you're trying to do and see if it's the same or similar sort of thing with the Second Amendment with gun control, which you tell us this is not about. It's not about anyone's Second Amendment rights. Well, unless you fall on the list of people, say, for example, who would be targeted by red flag laws, which sound, to the ears of some folks, that sound like a very promising thing. Keep guns out of people who are going to use them to harm somebody. Now we're into predictive policing. You have to give up your rights because someone thinks you might abuse them. Do we not see how the government could in turn abuse that? You look at how yesterday I spent a whole program talking about how the left redefines everything. They redefine everything. No word means anything to the left. It means what they want it to mean at the moment. It does not have a cast in stone, so to speak, definition. It has a fluid definition, right? For example, infrastructure now involves things, according to Kirsten Gillibrand, senator from the state of New York, that infrastructure was never intended to include. What childcare, I think, was childcare. That's part of infrastructure. Infrastructure means roads and bridges and railways and maybe airports and ports, that sort of thing. Travel, a way to move around the country, right? That's what it means. Until the Democrats want it to mean something else. Until the radical left has an agenda they're trying to force on the American people, which, by the way, they've been pushing for gun control. This is no surprise. They've been pushing for gun control and the limits of your Second Amendment rights for a long time. So if the First Amendment, first and foremost, we all have to understand that our rights come from our Creator. They do not come from your government. They do not come from Joseph R. Biden. They do not come from Kamala Harris. They do not come from Nancy Pelosi. They do not come from any of these jokers, any of these pretenders, any of these sophists, any of these professional deceivers. They come from Almighty God. That's who gives you your rights. When you are created and born in this world, you are given from your Creator certain unalienable rights. This was recognized by our founders in the Constitution, the Declaration, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is what it says in the Declaration. And in the Constitution, these rights are enumerated, though they are not meant to be interpreted as an exhaustive list of your rights. In fact, there's a thing in there called the 10th Amendment, which said that basically the things that aren't listed here, the things that are not listed, the liberties that are not listed are reserved by the people in the states. Just because it's not listed here in the original 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, just because it's not in the original 10 does not mean that it's suddenly under the purview and control of the federal government. That is not what that means. And government cannot limit your rights and freedoms. Those freedoms come from Almighty God. Government is not God, although the radical left wants you to believe that, because they in fact do believe that. The radical godless wing of the liberalism's movement, of the so-called progressive, though it's really regressive movement, those folks, to them, government is God. Government is God. They're going to solve all of our problems. They're going to provide salvation to humanity. They're going to make this a utopia, heaven on earth. They can usher in all these things that only God can do, the government can do, and you better shut up and get in line. That's basically how this goes. And so, they're here to protect us from ourselves with things that literally make no sense. They don't make any sense, folks. A lot of these things. And I know that they sound good to some people. But let's look at the rights that we have that are enumerated in the Constitution, which is not an exhaustive list again, but they are a list of rights. The First Amendment, the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom of assembly, the right to protest and to seek a redress of grievances against the federal government, against your government. Those things are not given to us by our government. Those things are given to us by Almighty God. And so basically this is an amendment that acknowledges that we have certain we have our own conscience. We have our own beliefs, and we're free to have those, and we're free to express those. And yelling fire in a crowded theater is not a part of that. That is designed for chaos. That is designed to harm others. That is not designed for you can't even make the argument, unless there's an actual fire, which is not what this analogy, that's overused by the way, what this analogy is meant to convey. It's meant to convey you're not exchanging an idea, a belief, even a stupid belief. You're doing nothing but causing damage. That's not at the core what the First Amendment is designed to do. The First Amendment does not limit your ability to talk about what you believe or who you believe God is or who you believe God isn't, whether there is or is not a God. The First Amendment doesn't do any of that. And let's shift over casually here to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment gives you the right. There's two fundamental things at play. It's really one fundamental thing, but I suppose there's two aspects of this. Number one, the right to keep and bear arms comes from our God-given rights to protect ourselves. That's it. That's the core. Now, from that, you can say, who are we protecting ourselves from? The founders understood that a overreaching tyrannical government was a threat, and the founders also understood that individual people not acting on behalf of the government, just people acting in accordance with their own, I guess you could say, sinful nature or criminal nature, whatever that might be, acting out taking criminal actions, threatening your family, your property, your livelihood. You have the right to protect yourselves against those individuals. This is not complicated. And anything that prohibits you or makes it harder for you to defend yourself against whatever the enemy might be, which could include, I know people today think that it's antiquated, probably not you in this audience, but some believe it's antiquated to think that there's such things as tyrannical government. Ironically, as we come out of the previous century killed 100 million people plus were killed by their own governments. Tyranny not a problem in the minds of some today. So this seems to be outdated and antiquated to some. But even if they're not prepared to accept that, they should at least accept the reality that guns, for example, stop sexual assaults and rapes, right? Guns prevent all sorts of crimes. In fact, most times that a gun stops a crime, the gun doesn't even have to be used. The perpetrator just has to know the individual has a weapon, and that surprisingly, shockingly, causes that individual, the person trying to commit a criminal act, to stop said criminal act. There's plenty of studies that show this, and the numbers of crimes that have been stopped by guns without even being fired is pretty overwhelming. But yet none of that seems to matter. And perhaps the other part of this that's bad, that truly is bad, is by talking about guns, this insatiable desire to limit Americans' access to weapons, to firearms, legally held firearms, this insatiable desire to do so, we're not addressing the real problem here. We're not addressing the real problem as to what causes someone to kill someone with a gun, or, by the way, to kill someone with a knife. Lots of people are stabbed to death, or to kill someone with a hammer, or to drive through a crowd of people walking down the sidewalk, or to create a bomb and ship it to someone. See, the first murder, I don't mean to be to be the spoiler here for the radical left, but the first murder, when Cain killed Abel, he didn't have a gun. You know that? This may be surprising. I don't know if Biden knows this. Cain did not have a gun. You know, at some point you ban, I've heard someone say, next up is the banning of pointy elbows. At some point, murder flows from the heart of man. And yes, there's the mental health issue, and I don't want to just glide over that or pass by that, because that is a real concern as well. But I'm telling you, many crimes are created because of the condition of the heart of mankind. Humankind, that's not meant to be sexist or based in gender. Anyway, gotta take a time out. Can't get to the sound bites right now. We'll try to get to those here a little bit later, but I've got a conversation with Matt Lamb that we're going to play here in the next segment, talking about what's going on college campuses, talking about what is happening with our media, professional deceivers, and so forth. But a timeout is in order. Sit tight. Be back here in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, Care to Change, and Interior Construction Services by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
Corin Homes is expanding their 55-plus community. Briar Creek is the only senior manufactured home community in Indianapolis featuring Indiana-built homes. Floor plans and finishes starting at $75,000. Enjoy affordable, low-maintenance lifestyle with the charm of a residential neighborhood. Located minutes from I-465 in Fort Harrison State Park. Corin Homes, family owned and operated since 1955. Check us out at COHRONhomes.com. Mention the Todd Huff Show and receive a $1,000 discount on your new home.
Unhappy with your CPAP machine? Now you have an alternative. The docs at Indy Dental Sleep have an oral appliance that treats snoring and sleep apnea. They begin with an in-home sleep test that is diagnosed by a sleep physician before prescribing your appliance. And it's covered by most medical insurance plans. It's preferred 20-1 versus CPAP. Call 317-888-4036 and start getting the sleep you need. Or visit IndyDentalSleep.com.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Geothermal tax credits are back, making this the perfect time to install a new Climate Master geothermal system. Take advantage of this limited time 26% tax credit and begin cutting your heating and cooling bills immediately. Visit indianageothermal.com/info to get your free Climate Master information kit or call 317-829-1490. Visit indianageothermal.com/info or call 317-829-1490. Geothermal, it's cheaper than you think.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
back, my friends. Once a month, we speak with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of the College Fix, and going to share that conversation with you. And then the balance of the program will probably be talking about these executive orders and the Second Amendment and so forth. So, that being said, it is my honor to share this conversation with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of the College Fix. Hope you enjoy.
This is the College Fix interview series brought to you by Apprentice University. If you're tired of your teen's Christian conservative values being persecuted, visit us at Apprentice University in Brownsburg, where students gain real-life experience and confidence through unique learning and networking opportunities.
Well, it's all of you know, lunacy abounds on college campuses today with all sorts of woke individuals, professors, students, movements, all sorts of things. And to help wade through some of this stuff, we've got Matt Lamb of the College Fix. He's with us once a month. Matt, it is a pleasure to have you back on. How are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am really interested about this. You just sent me an article this morning here. Headline, I hate white people. Black student leader says. Maybe share a little bit about what's going on here, and we'll talk about this. But what is going on? I hate white people, according to a report that you all have posted today.
Sure, and people can watch the video at our website and see the full clip, of course. So a law student at the University of Miami in Florida, her name is Jordan Gary. She posted a video on Instagram in early March that someone sent us, where she says that she hates white people. We tried to find, a longer clip to see if there's some sort of context. She seems to be talking about some sort of racial incidents or maybe just broadly, different political issues. She says in the Instagram video, we of course reach out to comment. We reach out to the law school, but no one would really respond, which is interesting because this school actually has a history of punishing other people for their political speech.
They do. Are there other examples that you are aware of specifically?
Yes. So there was actually a professor an instructor at the law school named Dan Ravitcher, who was a conservative professor, and he had made fairly neutral comments, I thought, about different voting patterns of Hispanics and African Americans. And he also made a comment when Biden was elected, or looked like, night election, made a joke about, okay, everyone better, get our guns now because gun control is coming. And he actually was kind of forced out of the university. They said, well, we didn't fire him. We just didn't renew his contract, or we suggested that he should not come back or something like that. But, this is clearly like a racist statement she made. I mean, she's saying that she hates an entire race of people. There's really no way around it. It's a racist message.
Well, there's no way around it. You're right, except for there always will be a proposed way around it when you look at these radicals and what they say. It's just amazing to me how this stuff is. This is becoming acceptable. This is becoming almost something that's people are expected at some point, at some level, to do with some of these radicals. This sort of stuff has to be stopped. Racism in all shapes, sizes, forms is a terrible thing. So keep an eye on that and see what happens. But another thing that caught my eye from something you all have reported on is this recent survey here. I'm pulled up the wrong article here. Survey here that says Campus Expression finds students reluctant to share views on controversial subjects, topics. What can you tell us about that as far as conservatives, and I think the article even says white students and Republican students, they're reluctant to share their views, which, no disrespect to the article, but is not surprising to me, right? I mean, so maybe tell us a little bit about this.
Sure. So Heterodox Academy did this report. It's basically like a group of, it's a bipartisan group, I guess you'd say, of professors and other people involved in education who, promote free expression, promote discussion. And they do a survey every year. They actually will survey campuses if university leaders want to know about the climate. And they found that between 44 to 48% of Republicans were reluctant to discuss politics, the 2020 presidential election, or Black Lives Matter in a classroom setting. They found that 30% of white students were reluctant to talk about race in class. 27% of Asians were also expressed reservations about discussing race. They were, and actually the other thing is when they asked the people who said, I don't feel comfortable sharing my views, they asked them why. And 60%, they could choose multiple answers, obviously. 60% said other students would criticize my views as offensive. And then the next three are basically all about my professor would criticize me, my views as offensive. My professor would say my views are wrong, or my professor would give me a lower grade. So basically the top two reasons are other students would say that I'm offensive, which can obviously carry a label. It's not just a disagreement, right? Students should disagree in classes. That's great, part of college. And then basically the next three are all my professor would punish me or ostracize me for my views.
Which is exactly the opposite of what we would want in a university setting. This one's near and dear to me because it strikes a chord, because even though it's been 150 years ago, I can relate to this on the college level, because I remember when I was at American University, I was pretty much the only conservative, definitely the most vocal in class. And I remember, debating against what seemed to be the rest of the, whatever it was, 25 students in my class. But as I stopped to think about it, there were usually, 4, 5, maybe 8 people that were vocally challenging the things that I was saying. But there were a lot of people that were quiet. And I had always assumed that those folks were in agreement, and maybe they were, with those that were on the liberal side, until one day one of those students was walking to lunch with me and he said, Todd, you just have so much common sense. And so this isn't probably a new phenomenon, but I do think that the stakes are higher. I mean, this is stuff that with the environment in total on college campuses is definitely something that students, I would think, take into consideration today. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think that professors should really be concerned about this. I had a professor saying I had a liberal professor at Loyola undersells it. I had many liberal professors at Loyola in Chicago, and one told me at the end of the semester, she said, "I don't think I've ever disagreed with a student more than I disagree with you, but I've never had as much classroom discussion because once you started talking, other students wanted to chime in to argue with you." And so it was sort of like a left-handed compliment of like, well, I guess I'm glad that I had a conservative student in my class because it actually got discussions going. So I think professors need to look at this. Of course, this doesn't mean in every single classroom this happens and every single professor, but I think it's worth reflecting on. Professors should really take a look at this survey and consider how are they implicitly or explicitly encouraging or discouraging discussion.
Yeah, and it's obvious in most cases, as you alluded to with your comment there, most cases professors are at least left-leaning, if not even off the chart to the left side. And, it's I learned, this is my opinion, but in that classroom, the real world doesn't have to intersect. It's the politics of the professor, and if they want it to be the rule of the law of the land, so to speak, they can enforce that as heavily as they want, and that can certainly cause students who don't agree to be fearful of speaking up about maybe getting a bad grade. Those things crossed my mind. And in today's world of social media, I'm sure you also have in there the concerns of having your comments videotaped and edited, as they did to Governor DeSantis here, to make it look like you're saying things that maybe you really aren't. There's all sorts of things that I think today's college student has to deal with that maybe I didn't have to deal with 120 years ago.
Sure.
So
no, I think that's a great point. Yeah.
So we've got that going on college campuses. We've also got one other story I wanted to get to. Well, there's two more. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. CBS News severely misrepresents university research into Asian American incidents. Tell us what that's about.
Sure, and this is a problem I'm seeing. I saw the Harvard student newspaper made this problem too. So there's two separate reports. Basically, CBS News ran this whole segment about violence against Asian Americans, but they mixed up two different statistics. So a couple professors in California have this website called Stop AAPI Hate, Asian American Pacific Islanders, I think is what AAPI stands for. Mm-hmm. And they report anonymous incidents of hate against Asian Americans. About 80 to 90% of these are shunning or like avoidance or verbal harassment. So, of course, hate, all of that is awful, but, avoidance or dirty looks is not a crime. And the researchers are very clear to say these are not crimes. We're not saying all these are crimes. What happens is CBS News, billion-dollar news corporation, said that there have been nearly 4,000 crimes against Asian Americans in the past year linked to, coronavirus stereotypes, President Trump saying kung flu, et cetera, et cetera. That's not what the report said. They actually interviewed one of the professors who did this report, but CBS still mixed them up. And then they said there's like an 150% increase in hate crimes, which is based off mainly more hate crimes reported in New York. Some places went from like 0 hate crimes to 2 hate crimes, which of course is, all crime is bad, but it doesn't necessarily spell a national crisis. Really, if New York would just focus on reducing hate crimes, there wouldn't have really been that much of an increase. But so it's really important because the average person isn't going to dig into this. They're going to read it 30 seconds, go, oh, there's been 4,000 hate crimes against Asian Americans. That's terrible. But I checked yesterday, I'll check again today, but CBS still hadn't corrected it. I've reached out to them. I've tweeted at them. I've commented on their Facebook posts, emailed them. No correction. And it's really disappointing to see that from a news corporation make such an obvious mistake.
So the difference is that there was a website or a place where people could self-report incidences versus actual crime, which is kept in another database. Is that correct?
Right, and so some of the incidents could be like perceived avoidance.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, maybe with social distancing, maybe people are just moving aside of the other side of the street because they're trying to be respectful of people, wanting to keep their distance for, public health reasons.
Yeah, and it could be a number of reasons, not just that, hey, this person is an Asian American or whatever, but that could be the perception of the person, the other individual, right. Certainly, but that's much different, to your point, than a crime. A crime having been committed is much different than a perceived sign of disrespect or what have you. So, okay, Matt. Well, you always you always increase my. I know that things are difficult and challenging on college campuses and in the media as well. But you never cease to, I guess, amaze me with some of the depth of some of the stupidity we have to contend with out here. So I appreciate what you do. Tell folks where they can read more about these articles or other things that you and the College Fix are reporting on a daily basis.
Yep. So thecollegefix.com is the best place. If you go to some of our recent articles, we link at the bottom to all of our alternative platforms, Rumble, Gab, MeWe. We're still on Facebook and Twitter. Sign up for our emails so we can make sure we reach you. Just bookmark our page, honestly, and every morning or every afternoon, check us out. We post articles throughout the day, and we'd love to have everyone's readership. Please share our articles, and continue reading us.
Well, you do good work, and you do an important work, and I appreciate it very much. It's always good to have you on here. Matt Lamb of the College Fix. Matt, thanks so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
There is plenty to worry about these days. If you're working with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual, your retirement and financial security doesn't need to be one of them. Blake is a time-tested financial advisor with over 20 years of experience at Northwestern Mutual. For an independent review of your financial planning needs, call Blake and mention the Todd Huff Show for a free initial consultation. Call 317-215-8322 or visit blakehornsby.com. Invest in your peace of mind with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual.
Are you tired of manually opening the gate every time you pull in the drive, especially during the freezing cold, pouring rain, or hot, humid weather? Then Gatekeeper Services has your solution. They offer affordable residential and commercial motorized units for your gated properties. Veteran-owned with over 50 years' experience in motorized gate sales and repairs on any make or model, and with numerous entry control options, Gatekeeper Services takes pride being certified in both automated gate system design and operator installation. Simplify your life today by calling 317-714-4061.
Family owned since 1973, Edwards Equipment at 1375 East Main Street in Danville is ready to meet your equipment needs by selling, renting, and servicing several makes and models of lightweight residential or heavy-duty commercial equipment. We carry and service top-name brands like Ferris, Kubota, Steel, Gravely, Honda Power, Land Pride, and more. Visit edwardstractor.com or call 317-745-6427 to check out our clearance specials today. At Edwards Equipment, we don't just sell you any piece of equipment, we sell you the right piece of equipment.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in Central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Hunting, fishing, bows, guns, ammo, safes, and more. The Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood has all the gear you need for your outdoor experience. We have a huge selection of brands that other shops don't carry, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff ready to answer all your outdoor adventure questions. At Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood, you can even hone your archery skills at our indoor shooting range. Find us online at outdoorsmansportshop.com. So get outdoors, but bring the right gear.
Fireplaces can be beautiful and even essential in heating some homes. But did you know they could be dangerous to your family if not properly maintained? Chimneys need to be cleaned and inspected annually. My family and I had Smalling Masonry inspect ours. They are friendly, informative, on time, and helped us use our wood-burning stove more efficiently. Call Christian-owned Smalling Masonry today at 317-903-8121 and mention my name, Todd Huff, for a 15% off chimney inspection and sweep. I want to get one more season out of my furnace or air conditioner. Have you or someone you know ever made that statement? Economy heating, air conditioning, and plumbing has heard it a lot. Did you know that furnaces and air conditioners are most likely to break down when they're under stress? That means during the hottest and coldest months of the year, like those months quickly approaching us. With winter on the horizon, now is the time to replace that old rickety unit. With 0% financing for up to 72 months and up to $600 in instant rebates, now is the time to buy. Doing great work is Economy's priority, and the satisfaction of their customers is their number one goal, guaranteed. Make your home comfortable this winter. Contact Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing today by calling 317-831-5279 or visit them at economyheatingandair.com. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of the College Fix. We do that, by the way, once a month. Once a month we have him in, and I appreciate his time and expertise on the issues we talk about. Thanks, Matt. I do appreciate it. By the way, the program brought to you in part by Gluff Plumbing. Gluff Plumbing, folks, they offer gas line repair and replacement, sewer water repair and replacement, plumbing inspections, pipe repair, root removal, garbage disposal repair, water purification, septic plumbing repair, sump pump repair and installation, leak detection, water heater installation, and clogged drains. For more information, visit them online, Gluff Plumbing, that's Gluff, gluffplumbing.com, or call them 765-721-6789. Be sure to tell them that you heard them on The Todd Huff Show. So back to this series of executive orders that have been enacted or in the process of being enacted by Joseph R. Biden. A summary of those 6 orders is as follows. I'm looking here in an article posted at IJR.com entitled Biden Rolls Out 6 Executive Actions on Gun Control. Here's what they are. Number 1, issue a proposed rule to stop the proliferation of, quote, ghost guns. The DOJ, Department of Justice, will issue a proposed rule within 30 days on how to stop the distribution of ghost guns. Kits that contain components of a gun and directions on how to assemble them within 30 minutes. I don't know if that's really accurate. I've heard from some of you who know more about this than I do. It's funny in a sense. I had a gentleman build an AR-15 for me, and I was familiar with some of this stuff just from talking with him along the way. Ironically, I just want to say this for the record, for public record, that AR-15, it was a crazy thing. Boating out in the middle of Lake Michigan, that thing is lost at sea in a boating accident. So I just wanted to make sure that was public record. Out in the middle of Lake Michigan, that thing is totally and completely unrecoverable. I don't even know where that thing went. We're at the deepest part of Lake Michigan, by the way. Anyway, so that's what the first executive order has to deal with. Quote unquote ghost guns. Number 2, restrict arm braces for pistols. The DOJ will have 60 days to issue a proposed rule to restrict the use of arm braces. The White House notes that such devices effectively turns a pistol into a short-barreled rifle. Dude, hearing how Democrats and the radical left describe guns, you realize they know nothing about these things. They don't know anything. I've read articles about some liberal journalist firing an AR-15 and was terrified and couldn't believe how loud it was and that sort of stuff. But anyway, this is, again, what these orders are designed to do. Number 3, draft model red flag legislation for states. This is the one that should be concerning to people when they get to decide who's mentally incapable of carrying a gun. Just look at how they've redefined everything else. This should be one that concerns people. I got to take a break. I'm long because of the interview, long in the segments today. So sit tight back here in just a minute, and we'll continue this discussion.
Enrollment in Todd's conservative, not bitter university is now open. For a limited time, save $10 on Todd's first course, A Christian's Guide to Being a Patriot. For more information or to enroll, visit conservativenotbitter.com. Sponsored in part by Workforce Chaplains. Could your business or organization benefit from the services of a professional team of chaplains? Meet the needs of your employees and foster an excellent work environment with Workforce Chaplains. For more information, visit workforcechaplains.com today.
Weddings, reunions, business, church, or family retreats, Indiana Paradise Retreat is a hidden gem located right here in central Indiana. With over 11,000 square feet, a theater, gym, sauna, hot tub, pool, stocked lakes, and even an on-site event hangar, we have just the place for your next event. Find us on Airbnb, VRBO, or just search for Indiana Paradise Retreat. We look forward to seeing you soon.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
flooded basement, failed sump pump. Water damage happens fast this time of year. For 38 years now, Hayes & Sons has been restoring water damage in Indiana homes and businesses. They'll help you navigate your insurance claim and get your life back on track. So when a water disaster strikes, tell your insurance agent you want Hayes & Sons for your restoration work. Visit hayesandsons.com/Todd for more information.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today, providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price. Our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create, on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
Welcome back. So the other three executive orders here by Biden: one, make investments in, quote, evidence-based community violence interventions. Nothing says, well, again, I'm from the government and I'm here to, I don't, look, I'm not suggesting that the government cannot do anything ever, but I just the faith that we put in this and what we're willing to potentially risk on the other side of this with the limitations on freedoms is just something that has to be discussed. It has to be discussed and weighed in the public discourse. And this stuff shouldn't be happening by executive action. This is the president that takes pride. Joseph Biden taking pride in the president that's now openly considering the limitation of rights. I mean, that's basically what he said when he said, look, your rights aren't limitless. Your rights don't allow you to yell fire in a crowded theater. So therefore, I'm going to place these restrictions on guns. The fifth is to direct the ATF to release annual reports on firearm tracking. Okay. The sixth is to nominate David Chipman to lead the ATF, not the most friendly of individuals to the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms. So anyway, folks, the NRA, governors are stepping up against this. Governors are saying basically we're going to become Second Amendment sanctuary states. Many have come out and said that. Governor Abbott of Texas, the governor of Iowa, Wyoming came out. There's others as well. I don't have a list in front of me. But this is something we all need to pay attention to. Whether or not, I know some folks, many conservatives obviously care about gun rights, and you should. You should care about the Second Amendment. But not everybody is a gun owner or, I don't know. And I think that maybe sometimes that runs the risk. I'm not suggesting it's the case here, but it runs the risk of maybe lulling people to sleep because they think this doesn't really directly affect me. It does, because it impacts the way the government looks at what your liberties are and what they can do to change those liberties potentially here. So, important issue. Timeout is in order, though. I've got to take a break. Sit tight. Back here in just a minute.
Stay on top of the nonsense our colleges are subjecting students to today by listening to Todd's monthly interview series with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of The College Fix. Listen at toddhuffshow.com/college. Brought to you by Apprentice University. With so many societal changes, everyone's talking about apprenticeships and college debt. Businesses seek employees with practical problem-solving skills. Visit apprentice.university to learn about our demanding academics and paid apprenticeships in excess of tuition. No debt, in-demand skills, Christian community.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, Freije, FreegieAuctioneers.com. Visit FreegieAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee & Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Hey Indy, Sid here with Kill a Dent Removal. We specialize in a paint-free repair process known as PDR. Our certified master technicians remove dents and dings of all shapes and sizes, including hail damage, with zero body fillers, zero painting, and zero diminished value. Most repairs are completed the same day, many even while you wait. Check us out at killadentremoval.com. And remember, folks, don't paint your car, go PDR.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
Are you looking for reliable advice on real estate investing? Then you should start listening to the Homeboys. Clint and Scott have over 40 years of real estate investing experience that they use to educate and guide their listeners. Listen and learn from their experiences to maximize your real estate investment strategy. You can find the Homeboys podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or watch them on YouTube. That's the Homeboys podcast. They can show you how to get started and reach your real estate investment goals. Welcome back. I do want to say this in closing here as we've got, a minute or so, I guess, left. Is this what unifying a country looks like? Is this what unifying a country looks like? Because that's what we were told Biden was going to do. He's going to ride into town, stop the nonsense of Trump causing division, dissension, turmoil, tumult, chaos, disorder, Nazism, whatever else, right? Going to come in and save the day. Is this what unifying a country looks like? Is trying to work around the filibuster and change the filibuster rule without actually changing the filibuster rule? Is that something that is unifying this country? Is governing by fiat and executive order and decree as the Emperor Biden would see fit? Is that what unifying a country looks like? Is this what it means to build back better? That's a question, right? That was Biden's. You might not remember that because Biden didn't campaign at all, but build back better. We're going to build back better. Come on, man. We're going to build back better. And probably awkward pauses in his sentences, not knowing what he's going to say next. Anyway, build back better. Is this what this looks like? Building back better. Again, I ask, by what measure? By what objective measure has anything, has anything improved under the Biden administration? I know we're only 90 days in, but in another sense, we're only 90 days in, right? We got a long way to go is my point. By what objective measure is anything better? Anything better? What objective measure? In fact, I would contend that by any measure I can come up with, things are getting much worse. But I don't want you to lose hope, folks. We're still engaged in this fight. People are still, if you look at some of these surveys, you see that people want to see common sense voter legislation.
From biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Quality glass windows and doors add value to your home or commercial space. At White's Innovative Glass, our family-owned and operated company will work with you to ensure we understand your vision before we begin. And if you don't have a vision, we can help with that too. We proudly stand behind our work and look forward to your call. Right now, we're offering 15% off your next project. Visit our website at whitesinnovativeglass.com/Todd.